Hey everyone! So today's video is going to be about another leaked upcoming ship, so if you don't want to hear about that, then I guess don't watch this video. But it feels like we were just doing this with the Perseus, but I guess CIG wants to keep the excitement up as we close out the year, so here we are again. Before we start though, be sure to get subscribed because I'm finally working on another tips video and you won't want to miss that. I think I've got some pretty good ones this time around. So I'm going to start by going over what we know so far about this ship, and with this ship it's not all that much. We do know the name though, and given Origin's naming scheme that gives us quite a bit of information. Also, SCLeaks and some other leakers have given us some information about this ship, which I believe is actually being tested with very limited access right now. It's not even being given to the Evocati, so if anyone is testing it, it's a very small group, which is how they're keeping the leaks to be so minimal with a ship that's pretty much flight ready. So anyway, this ship is going to be called the 400i, but from what it looks like it's going to be a lot closer to the 600i than a 300i. So here we have a very blurry image of what it will look like when it comes out. This is the only image that we have right now, so we'll have to make do with it. Again, most of this is courtesy of SCLeaks, so thank you to them and be sure to check out their video that I have linked in the description. Although this time, I think they accidentally shared a bit more than they had planned on doing, unfortunately. Okay, and then the only other image that exists, or that's public at least, is this one, which is supposedly a concept image from a long time ago. Which makes sense because it looks a lot more like the old 300 series than current Origin designs. So it's going to be more like that first blurry image, but I just wanted to show this one as well for completeness. So this really isn't all that much information, but it does give us an idea of the major design choices that they went with for it though. So this is definitely still an Origin ship, but I think it's going to be a lot more divisive in terms of whether or not people like it, at least in terms of the design. Most people, even those who aren't a fan of Origin ships as a whole, will still say that they are some of the best looking ships in Star Citizen, but I can definitely see some people thinking that this ship is ugly. Personally though, I do like the look of this ship from what I've seen so far. It reminds me of some of the designs of some of the Nubian ships from Star Wars, kind of like this. And if you watch my video on the Perseus, you know that this is going to be an automatic plus for me. Now I didn't end up getting the Perseus, so I'm not completely blinded by my love for Star Wars, but I think it's cool to see them branching out in terms of their designs for ships. Also, just in terms of the general layout, this ship seems to have two things that I really like, which are a bridge near the rear, or more like a cockpit on this size of ship, and a front ramp. So the bridge location is definitely going to be good, and again, like the top bridge on the Perseus, I really like ships with bridges near the rear. What isn't quite for sure though is how you're going to get onto this ship. So there are leaked file names that have names for different parts of the ship, and there's one for a vehicle elevator and one for a ramp. So that makes me think that there could be a personnel entry ramp on the ship and a separate vehicle elevator. I really hope this is the case because elevators are fine, but I think the best and coolest way to get off of your ship is just walking out the front. The Emperor agrees with me here. At least in terms of front ramps though, I'm not completely out of luck if this ship is a flop. I still have the upcoming C2 to look forward to with all of its front ramp glory. So moving on to the likely role for this ship, it's probably going to be another exploration and touring ship since that's what Origin focuses on mainly. Now this is a bit disappointing to me because I'd like to maybe see some more practical or at least diverse offerings from Origin since I really like their design language but not so much their prices and capabilities that they offer for those prices. But I think CIG have unfortunately decided that in order to keep up Origin's image as a luxury brand, they can't be releasing anything from them that's too useful. And the sad thing too is that I don't think this will be all that great at the roll, because unless they plan on making the 600i a lot better when they eventually rework it, they have to make this ship worse than it. So that means no medical facilities and nothing that the 600i doesn't have, and that ship is already pretty sparse on features. All you really get with the 600i is a rover bay and a scanning room, with not much else in the way of exploration capabilities. So I'm not expecting this ship to have many use cases at all, even for exploration. It seems like it's going to have vehicle carrying capabilities at least, but it probably won't be able to carry cargo at the same time, since if it carries more than 40 SCU as well as a vehicle, it's just straight up better in carrying capacity than the 600i exploration, which I doubt they'd do. Whatever the case is, it's going to be hard for it to compete as a pure exploration ship since it's going to be squashed on both sides by the Freelancer Doer, which is already a solid little ship, and the Constellation Aquila, which will be pretty good once its issues get addressed. And as a side note, CIG did talk about the Constellations a little bit during Star Citizen Live yesterday, and confirmed they will be getting small fixes, so stuff like flight characteristic adjustments in 3.12, and then they'll also be getting slightly larger changes when the Taurus is finally finished. So there is hope for Constellation owners. But going back to the 400i, it'll definitely be good for sightseeing, but I'm guessing if you look at it based on pure exploration abilities, there's going to be better options. One thing that I think might be a bit more likely is a combat variant. I'd love to see a 425A, because the 325A is one of my favorite ships, and probably my favorite overall in that size category. So having a bigger ship like that would be very interesting for sure. Who knows though, even this base 400i that we're getting might still be pretty solid for combat, just based on the fact that the 600i is already quite combat ready with its large shield and 3 pilot controlled size 5 mounts. Overall though, even though I am a bit disappointed that this is probably just going to be another exploration ship, and most likely not a great one, I am happy to see it being added into the game. It's in the same sort of size range as the Constellations, and this is a very popular size range. There's good reason for this, because the ships of this size often have a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to be used with crewmates or just flown solo, and used for everything from box missions to light cargo to bounty hunting. Right now, you really only have the Constellation, which is in a bad spot, and the Star Runner, which I just covered, and it's a great ship, but a lot of people probably want a ship that has a bit more firepower than it does. Besides those two, you have the dependable Freelancers and Cutlasses, but those are a bit smaller, so they're a little less capable overall, and you also have the Vanguards, which are great ships, but besides a few types of missions that they can do, they can basically only do combat-related stuff. So with all that considered, all this ship has to do to be a reasonable choice, for now at least, is be more combat capable than the Freelancers and the Star Runner, while still having some other utility feature, be that a moderately sized cargo capacity or vehicle carrying capabilities. And the fact that it'll be luxury and origin will just be a bonus on top of that. Now this role it's going to occupy is going to be in danger as soon as we get more ships in the size category, especially stuff like the Corsair that I think is just going to be a really solid ship overall. But for the foreseeable future, I think the 400i might be a decent option, because there just really isn't much else in that size range. Unless the slight adjustments they make to the Constellation in 3.12 make it fly a lot better, there's still going to be a lack of ships in that medium-large size range, and I could see the 400i slotting in there quite nicely. Let me know you guys' thoughts on this though. Origin is one of the more divisive manufacturers, because people either love their designs and can ignore their slight lack of utility, or people just think they're a waste of money. Either way though, I'm excited for the ship to hopefully come out soon, and it'll be cool to possibly have a real Star Runner competitor already. We'll just have to wait and see on that though. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.